On October 25th, 2018, Silent Hooper tweeted, "When the race war is happening and I gotta kill Tony Hawk," with a screenshot from the film New Jack City. Tony Hawk responded, "I appreciate the hesitation though." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. Look, people love Tony Hawk. This is the second canonical Tony Hawk tweet I've covered. The previous one was in entry 232, and this is about the internal conflict someone is dealing with, imagining having to end Tony Hawk's life should a hypothetical race war break out. And to demonstrate that, they use a screenshot from the film New Jack City, specifically the scene where the main character Nino Brown has to kill his childhood best friend G-Money. Nino, portrayed by Wesley Snipes, doesn't want to do it, but he has to do it. And so as you can see right before he does it, tears roll down each of his cheeks. It's a powerful scene in a really good movie, although the movie has way too much Judd Nelson in it. Obviously, I am not the right person to comment on this in its entirety. Like, you don't want me to speculate on what Tony Hawk means to the black community. Thankfully, though, I got help from another creator on here, Christian Divyne. I asked him to come on the show, we were discussing what tweet he wanted to talk about, and this one just made sense. So this is our conversation where he provides some insight and context. So Christian, do you remember the first time you saw this exchange with Tony Hawk talking about when he would get killed in the race war?
Yeah, I actually do remember this one specifically because I was like, what year is that meme from? It was like 2016?
2018.
2018. Oh my god, it's so much older, newer than I thought it was. But I remember like seeing it and thinking it was so funny, just because people will hold this like, Tony Hawk is held in reverence. But I had just moved to New York at that point. But yeah. No, I remember laughing so hard at it. Yeah.
So yeah, talk a little bit about how he's held in reverence, because obviously, I grew up playing the video games, and, seeing him in the X Games. But obviously, like, given how much of a response there was to this tweet, clearly this guy was not the only black person who has a special relationship with Tony Hawk where he wouldn't want to, kill him in the race war.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't even think that Tony Hawk has necessarily done anything. I think it's the lack of Tony Hawk having done anything evil consistently. And also, obviously, the Pro Skater games went platinum everywhere, including the hood. Like, I had Pro Skater 1 and 2. My cousins had it. Underground, and like the connection between both like punk music, ska music, and rap music, all those like soundtracks went crazy. And also, Tony Hawk's just a cool dude. And that's really it. I think Tony Hawk's even in like an episode of Loiter Squad, maybe. Like, Tony Hawk's just like a guy who's around and is really funny.
Yeah, he definitely has the vibe. Like, he has the vibe that he has in this exchange where he appreciates the hesitation.
Yeah. The exchange is so funny because it's like, he's also like, I just cannot think of a single problematic thing that Tony Hawk has done, and he's just been a cool dude all of his life. And also just like, there's so much to admire him about. He really like pioneered so much in it, and there's a lot of black skaters, and still even then, like, Tony Hawk represents like a lot.
Yeah. And, the photo that's used is a screenshot from New Jack City of Wesley Snipes about to kill his friend on a rooftop. It's not the only time that clip is used a lot.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that use of that clip, and how do you feel it applies here?
He's shooting his brown eyes. I think it's like, it's been so long since I've seen it. I think it's like Wesley Snipes is Nino Brown, and I think just like the implication there of like how hard it is. It's something you got to do, and I think making it to Tony Hawk and knowing that like Tony Hawk can't be the exception to the rule, no matter how bad you like. There's no reason to kill Tony Hawk in this scenario. So yeah.
Because if I remember correctly, I think because Nino Brown doesn't hesitate about killing anyone.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, there is this is all tongue in cheek, and obviously, I think people a lot of times will take it the wrong way. But how do you feel about the tone of it, and like, is it the type of thing that I think there's a lot of consternation about joking about like, oh, this white guy's okay, that type of thing.
Yeah. No cookout invites. Obviously, we don't invite people to the cookout, but I do think it's just like, damn, like him too. I think it's like, there's layers to the joke and how much people want to have fun with it, and I think this is also like, especially with the TikTokification of everything. Sometimes people are chronically online about how we joke about these things, but I think 2018, like, just is a little joke. It's not an invite to the cookout. It's just, damn, Tony Hawk too, I guess. Like, you know what I mean?
I really want to thank Christian for taking the time to come on. And I think he did provide some insight, because it is just his vibe. It's not even like, oh, he did this one great thing. He's just always been cool. And this is evidenced by the fact that in 2022, when he finally met Wesley Snipes, he posted the photo to Twitter with the caption, "I was spared, life is good." So this isn't just a meme to people on Twitter. Tony Hawk was thinking about this moment almost 4 years later. And I don't know, maybe there's a lesson for all of us to learn, that if you have the vibe of, I appreciate the hesitation though, people will like you more. And this isn't a gigantic meme format. It's mostly just this specific reference, but I've seen it iterated on a few times. Like just recently when there was a prompt saying tweet like you're in the Marvel Universe, the Martian's acolyte tweeted, when the class war is happening and I have to kill Tony Stark. When Zach Silverberg pointed out that Mr. Cheddar was the only good AI image, which is correct, Hunter said, when the AI war is happening and I have to kill Mr. Cheddar. And Street said, when the rubber war is happening and I have to kill Gumby's horse Pokey. I don't know why, but this one's very funny to me. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't know if it's possible for all celebrities to do this, because some celebrities just aren't wired this way, but I think it always makes you look good if you are in on the joke and you say, haha, that's funny. Because the joke that he's responding to is ostensibly about killing him. But Tony Hawk knows that it's not really about that, it's basically about how much he's appreciated. And so he's able to laugh and yes-and it. Because he says, I appreciate the hesitation though, is why people would hesitate. Follow me for a new tweet every day. Please consider subscribing at patreon.com/museum of Twitter. We get the weekly Museum of Not Twitter, and you can vote on what I cover on Subscriber Sundays.